Shop Talk.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Shop Talk. We're here today at Heartland Research with Dr. Terry Klein.
Hello and welcome.
Dr. Klein, nice to meet you. What is Heartland Research, and what do you do here?
Heartland Research is a method of delivering value to the patients. Basically what happens is patients come to us in our family practice clinic, and sometimes we'll have something in research that allows for them to be treated at a much lesser cost than would otherwise be expected of them. So that is the value I think that they receive. Our value is that we learn new things all the time, that we bring more things to the market, that we allow other doctors options that they otherwise would not have. The studies are developed when a pharmaceutical company or a device company is trying to create something to go to market. In essence, they're petitioning the FDA so that the FDA can give them direction and then authority to sell. And so to do that, they have to have data. And so they have come to us and said, can you help us get that in a good standard of care type environment? And so we've done that for about 20 years or so. Now, to answer your question about what kinds of studies we've done, the answer really is very broad. We do not do cancer research because we've got great cancer research people here already in town, and they're doing a very respected and good job. Also, HIV we don't do. We also have that in town here, and they do a very good job. But other than that, very broadly we can do that. We do have a diabetes clinic here, so we tend to have cardiovascular type studies that we do. In the last few years, vaccine studies have helped a lot. And so a broad spectrum of studies have happened.
Now, one of them is a pediatric flu vaccine.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
We've done a few of those. As you know, one of our methods of protecting the health of the pediatric population is to vaccinate them against probable diseases. If we have that vaccination, then that's a good method. And so we are developing constantly better vaccines, ones that give better response or ones that cover different things. And so we've done actually quite a few pediatric vaccines. Some of them have been for the flu. Recently, that's been a lot of the work.
What benefits can be gained, by these kinds of studies?
Well, let me give you an example how we perceive the benefit. In Asia, there is a flu that has started. It is a bird flu. That means that if people get exposed to birds, they can get the disease. Unfortunately, about 60% of the people that get it die. So it's a gruesome, terrible thing. Well, we know that in time that transitions so that humans can give it to humans, and when that happens, it's all over the world. Well, in Wichita, there's probably 1,000 people now, given the studies that we've got, who are protected such that if that virus should expand itself, they're protected. So what we have is it's a preventative health approach. We have vaccinations so that the people who are involved in the studies can walk away saying, I have the protection, just like as if you were given it in the clinic.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the process of a study, for a participant. What could they expect?
It's a well-regulated environment, as you know. The FDA has its hands in each component. There is an informed consent, and the informed consent means let's open up to the patient and tell them what we know about the medication, what we know about the vaccine, what the potential risks are, and get them well schooled in what that means. Then it's their decision whether they go forward or whether they don't go forward. If they choose not to, that's fine, then they go. If they choose that they would like to be involved, then they continue in the study. The study has pre-prescribed visits, so we'll know that we'll see them at day 1 when they get their vaccination, at day 12 or 15 or 18, whatever the protocol requires, so they'll know up front just how many visits and just what the follow-up will be. For the vaccine studies, it's really an injection. Maybe there's a follow-up injection in some of the studies, but that's the extent of the invasiveness. We have other studies where we have one diabetic study where for 4 years they get their medicine for free, and so those are kind of nice to get to as well.
What about the safety of the studies? Somebody might be worried,
Yeah. And I think that's always a concern. The way medicine is developed is that it's developed first on the computer to see what it looks like. After that, then they do extensive study in animals. And in animal models, they know how it runs through the system and they know what happens. They see if there's a problem. That's why you sort of jokingly say, well, this created bladder cancer in a rat, you know, because that's how they do the testing on that. And then they go way above the dosage that we normally would do just to see if they can find some toxicity. So they do that animal studies. Then they come to phase 1 study. Phase 1 means that it is the first time in humans. And there are phase 1 study units. We are not one. We do not do phase 1. But that means, and that's typically done where there's colleges, where healthy individuals will have people that for a weekend can be housed in an area when they take a medicine, and then they give samples to see how it's being metabolized. But phase 1 develops data. And when you get phase 1 data, you've got some sense of toxicity. And so at this point, you know, if the toxicity is not apparent and we don't find safety issues, then we expand it to a little bit larger group. That's phase 2. We do those. And that means that we expand it to a larger numbers of people. And again, always looking to see if there's some problem, always looking. And then if there is, it gets documented and sent on to the FDA immediately. So that's the safety that we get. By the time it gets to the market, you can have up to, some medicines will have 35,000 people that will have been exposed to that drug before it even gets to market.
Tell me about your locations.
Yeah, we started doing research right here in the location that we're filming this today. And after that, then other physicians had heard of us and had wanted to get involved because they could see that there was value to their patients in their settings too. So that has then matured. So now we have some people that we've hired that go into their offices that will facilitate the same research with the same safety, with the same accountability. I guess one of the things that I would like for the community to know is that in this community we have state-of-the-art things going on. In fact, we received an award that was an international award that was the best quality research site that was determined by the industry. So that has helped us a lot. In fact, people that look for vaccine studies have then now looked to us when they hadn't before because of that award. So we're kind of excited about that as well.
All right. Well, Dr. Klein, thank you very much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us today. And thank you for joining us on this edition of Shop Talk.